Today we're doing two NFL player props here on PrizePicks for Sunday, December 15th. Before I get started, you guys take a look in the description below of this video. Hop into the Discord, $9.30 per month, 31 cents per day. Currently doing a promo right now for first-time members of the Discord. 20% off your first month, comes out to like $7 for the first 30 days in the Discord. Again, link in the description below for that using promo code TUFF. It is where I post all the plays that I'm making on PrizePicks, where their captions in there as well. Super positive community overall. Everyone in there just trying to help each other cash. Also mention I'm not a gambling expert. This is not financial advice. Simply displays on personally looking at making. Hopefully giving you guys some insight and analysis to make your own player prop decisions here. But let's get right into it, you guys. I got two player props for these NFL Sunday, December 15th slate. Can't believe we are in, I think we're in week 15. Pretty crazy. But yeah, after that horrible Sunday game, it's not Sunday, Thursday night football game that we saw with no touchdowns being scored. I got two player props that I do like for this overall Sunday slate. Let's not waste any time, though. Let's just get right into it. The first play I'm looking at is going to be Tyreek Hill. I do like his over 5.5 receptions. Again, if this for whatever reason bumps to 6, which I think it could possibly bump to 6, you could pivot to reception targets at 8.5 or fantasy score here at 15. All right, just keep that in mind. But at 5.5 receptions for Tyreek Hill, it's a buy low in my opinion, given considering last season for a majority of the year, Tyreek's receptions line was at least at bare minimum at 6.5, even 7.5 receptions consistently. But looking at this one, Miami is 2.5 point road underdogs playing indoors in Houston. Weather's not going to be a factor. With a 46.5 point game total, which just tells me there's a ton of upside here for Tyreek receptions. We look at Tyreek Hill this season. We're going back to PrizePicks real quick. His targets line here is set at 8.5. So let's just see in games this season when he's had at least 8 targets. He's over this line in every single game: 7, 6, 6, 6, 7, and 10. And again, he's coming off his best game of the year, in my opinion. 14 targets, 10 catches for 115 yards and a touchdown. So again, they're kind of getting back, I think, to where the Miami offense should be, right? Tua, they started off slow. Tua missed a bunch of time. Tua came back. They started off slow again, and now they're kind of back into full effect. And Tyreek Hill has had back-to-back games of 6 catches for 83 yards and 10 catches for 115. So again, really just a buy low opportunity for Tyreek Hill here, in my opinion. We look at even last season. He was over this line in at least 5 catches, in every game, including that wild card game. But his only misses came in this. Wait, actually, let me just go back. Let me just look at Outlier, by the way. Link in the description below. You get a 7-day free trial over on Outlier. Again, research betting pool that I do use. But over 5.5 receptions currently on books. It shouldn't bump. It's only minus 113 on Caesars, minus 110 on Bet365. But last season, he was over this line in 12 of 17 games last year. And again, if you talk about like his last 10 games, or more specifically like his last 5 games, he's been playing really well. Miami offense has been playing really well. 7, 5, 6, and 10. I think there's no scenario where he doesn't see at least 5 receptions, right? Like the floor should be 5 receptions for Tyreek Hill. If we even look at his odds at what his odds are over 4.5, it should be heavily juiced, probably minus 245. So again, it doesn't really make sense for me here why his line is this low, in my opinion. So Tyreek Hill over 5.5 receptions. We know this is a strong matchup here as well against the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans, two wide receivers are, let me see, they're down here as far as receptions go, right here, kind of middle of the pack. But fantasy points wise, they're at 36.7, so they do give up a ton of production to wide receivers. And then we look at wide receivers fantasy score game log this season, or not fantasy score, game log this season. Versus the Texans, when seeing 5+ targets, right? We've seen how many? 12 different wide receivers get at least 6 catches in this one. And again, there's not a player like Tyreek Hill that sees kind of target volume share the way Tyreek Hill does, right? And compared to like all these guys, maybe CeeDee Lamb would be the only player of these guys that see the type of target volume and target share in an offense that Tyreek Hill does. And again, he still is continuing to dominate all the snaps as well, right? Like Tyreek Hill wide receiver snaps, he played 97% of snaps last week. I don't see that changing at all, right? Continuing to lead the Dolphins in snap count at that wide receiver position. So again, Tyreek Hill or 5.5 receptions is the first play. The second play is going to be receptions targets line. And again, this line to me doesn't make sense to me like at all, in my opinion. It's going to be oh, did they take it off the board? Oh no, here we go. Amari Cooper over 5.5 reception targets. 5.5 reception targets for Amari Cooper. Again, played his best game of the year last week. With the Bills at least. Saw 14 targets, 6 catches, right? So coming off 14 targets last week, I think Dalton Kincaid was out as well as Keon Coleman, I believe, in that game. I'm gonna double check right now. Yeah, Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid were out, but like it's not like Keon Coleman, sees a dominant snap share anyways. And then Dalton Kincaid obviously sees his share of targets, but the matchup is too good at 5.5. Like literally 3 targets in each half for Amari Cooper in this kind of game environment and game script that we should be expecting here in this one. It doesn't really make sense. Looking at this game script, Buffalo, Detroit, this is probably, one of the highest, if not the highest game total I've seen in the NFL this season, 54.5 over under with a 2.5 point spread, right? So, and we know even so, saying that the Detroit Lions, essentially their Detroit Lions defense is a pass funnel defense, right? Targets, they allow the most targets in the NFL to wide receivers, the absolute most. 319 total targets through 13 games to wide receivers. We look at wide receivers this season that have seen 6+ targets, 6 or more targets, 21, right here, 21. Here's the number. Here's the Lions target line. 21 different wide receivers this season have seen 6 or more targets versus the Detroit Lions, right? We know their run defense is very elite, and we know that their offense is very powerful. Given just this game script and the game flow of this game, I can't see a scenario where this game isn't a shootout, right? The Buffalo was just last week in a massive shootout with the Rams with like an 80-point game total. So again, the line doesn't really make sense for me here for Amari Cooper, in my opinion. Coming off his best game of the week, or sorry, best game of the season, he saw 14 targets. We just need 6 in this one. Again, does the Dalton Kincaid, Keon Coleman coming back, not phasing me whatsoever. So 2 player props for this YouTube video. Tyreek Hill for 5.5 receptions. Again, I would pivot if this does bump to 6. I would pivot and take reception targets at 8.5 or 15 fantasy score. Again, it's PPR scoring. And then Amari Cooper over 5.5 reception targets. Again, if this line removes or bumps, you could pivot and take his fantasy score or his receptions as well. But 2 player props for this YouTube video, NFL Sunday, December 15th. You guys check out the link in the description below. Join the Discord. And as always, let's cash.